Let's talk about overthinking. I'm on holiday at the moment, and this might feel like work, but to me, it's when all my ideas really flow. And I've had a bit too much sun this morning, so I thought I'm going to come in and record a video while I'm on my own because overthinking has been coming up a lot in my therapy space recently, and it's something I definitely worked on, over the years, and still have to now. And it might be a bit uncomfortable to hear, especially if you're someone who lives in your head a lot. But overthinking isn't the problem. Overthinking is a way of avoiding your emotions. So most of us were not given a very good emotional education. And let me know in the comments if you were given a good emotional education, because I've not really come across anybody yet who was. We learn to deal with our emotions growing up by suppressing, by numbing, and generally avoiding them. And that usually because the people around us, parents, caregivers, the environment around us, even school, emotions were not really allowed. We're not really allowed to have them. Not really, definitely not allowed to express them. And if you were a sensitive child like me, you probably were told that you were too much and that you had too many emotions. So what we did in order to survive, because we will have had emotions, because humans do, is that we started to suppress them and we tried to make them go away. And then we'd be a bit more acceptable to the people around us. But the trouble with that is that emotions just get stored up for later. They stay in our nervous system, and sometimes they even get woken up a little bit, which is what you might call a trigger, because they're going round and round and round. They get woken up by something that's similar or feels familiar. And then we have to work extra hard to keep them down, and it's pretty exhausting. And before I trained as a therapist, I did a lot of my own therapy work and personal development stuff. And I still do that, right? I still do that. But most of the work went on before I decided to become a therapist. And there's really one experience that stays in my mind a lot. That here I was doing a lot of overthinking, and I was doing this therapy work to try and deal with it. And I went on one of those personal development weekends, the ones where they ask you to come up to the front with a microphone and share. And I'm working on being brave and I'm working on being visible. So I go up to the front of the room and I'm sharing all these things that have happened to me. And the facilitator, who was at the front of the room with me, said something I've never, ever forgotten. I came to the end of my very long story. And he took a pause and he looked at me and he said, "That kept you busy." I kid you not, he said, "That kept you busy." I was a bit shocked, and if I'm honest, I was even a bit offended at the time. And I scuttled off the stage and I went to sit back down, feeling a bit sorry for myself. But I've come to realise that he was absolutely right. Staying in the story just kept me busy, and it's the same with overthinking. Overthinking keeps you busy, keeps you distracted, and it keeps you from feeling the feelings that are really going on under the surface. And of course, sometimes we need to do that. We can't be in our feelings all the time. But the trouble with always living in our head is that it becomes very taxing, very exhausting, going round and round in circles, but there's never any resolution. So we just have to keep going round it over and over and over again, but we never find the solution. It's like going over the same old thing, keeping you awake at night, stopping you being present with your family, your friends, and even your work. So here's something I want you to remember. Thoughts live in the head and emotions live in the body. So when we stay in our head, overthinking, analysing, going around in circles, we're usually trying to move away from what's happening in the body. It's a really great defence mechanism, so we don't have to feel our real feelings. So if you want to reduce your overthinking, if you want to feel calmer, if you want to fall back to sleep and shut off that story and that noise in your head, here's something simple to try. I say simple, it is simple, but it's not easy. You do have to practice. So you start by noticing, notice. Once you've noticed that you're overthinking, you take a big long slow breath into your belly, making sure the out breath is slightly longer than the in breath. That's going to send a message to your nervous system that it's okay to feel. Then you bring your awareness out of your head and down into your physical body. Remember that thoughts live in the head, emotions live in the body. And ask yourself a very important question. What am I trying not to feel? And then you sit still and you give yourself a moment, because the answers won't come quick. Your nervous system doesn't want you to feel your feelings, right? So it's like not going to bring the answers really quickly. So you have to really allow yourself, trust the process, sit with it. And some of these feelings feel pretty rubbish, I know. But honestly, if you can start to move down into your emotions rather than in your thinking brain, you'll feel calmer, you'll feel better. You'll start to get the wisdom that your emotions are going to bring. And you'll start to understand yourself on a much deeper level. So you slow down, come into your body, allow the feeling just for 90 seconds, start to create some space in your head, some clarity, and lots of calm. So I'd love for you to try this today and let me know how it goes. And if you're curious about all things thoughts, feelings, and emotions, like me, a bit of a geek, and you like to understand things, that's what I'm all about. So you can follow me on here for more. Bye for now.